Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of Not Top 25, an episode designed for all the disgruntled Kentucky fans that most recently found our account. Welcome. Also, welcome to all the Arkansas and Louisville fans that stumbled upon us. Um, this episode will be different in terms of the fact this is designed for Kentucky basketball and more of a Kentucky basketball therapy session due to our certain circumstances. So I had to call in two of my good friends, two of the biggest Kentucky basketball fans I know, Mr. Josh Hopkins and Scoot Dog Lawson. Fellas, how are we doing today?
I'm good. I'm good,
Good.
Trey. I'm
Yep.
ready to go. Good to be with you guys.
Yes, sir.
Well, it is game day, unfortunately, however you want to look at that, but I'd be remiss if we didn't backtrack a little bit and talk about how we got here. How did we get to 9-6, a worse record in the Pope era than the Gillespie era up to this point? A lot more statistics to be thrown out there, but let's backtrack to Tuesday. Fellas, I don't know about you guys. You've been fans a lot longer than I have, but in my short, almost quarter of a century of life, this is the lowest point I've ever felt as a Kentucky fan. I sort of compare it honestly to how my generation views the Dallas Cowboys is kind of like a laughing stock, like former great franchise program that the has-beens. And it's just kind of funny to watch them lose. And I feel like we've sort of molded into that in a way. Is that a fair analysis? Or what is your take from, or what, I guess the best question would be like initial reaction to the disaster on Tuesday?
Dude, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, you know, yeah. Coming into this, Trey, when you asked this, so many things went through my mind, and I'm going to try to be as professional as I can. And we'll get back to your Dallas Cowboys thing. I hadn't even thought about that, but you made some kind of valid points. Although they're 30 years out, we're only 5 years into something, so I wouldn't go there yet. Kentucky has a history of rebounding in these situations, and they will again. I truly believe that. It's just, I think, the landscape and the way the game is now. There's NIL, etc. That allows, you can't just buy every best player, right? Talent's going to be spread. I don't know. And that's until we get more foundation or get used to this, we just haven't adjusted well to it, obviously. Number one, we made a coaching change, which some wanted the coaching change, some did not. 15 years at UK is a long time. I'm proud for Coach Cal. I'm glad he's getting the opportunity. I really am. That guy's a hell of a man. But I think it was time. I'm fine with that. The question is, did we make a bad hire? And this is where all this is going to. And I'm just up front going to say this, okay? Um, I don't. There's some weird things going on there, but could it just be that these guys, Hop, aren't good basketball players, man? I mean, I'd go back to early this year when Bruce Pearl was on set with Mashburn and Jalen Rose, and he said, Kentucky looks like they've got a bunch of six men, a bunch of, good. And I was like, oh no, we lost a game maybe or something. We lost to Louisville. And I'm like, that's jumping the gun. We fought back or whatever. But as the season's progressed, I just don't think we have good basketball players on this team, guys. Sorry. That's what I see. Whose fault is that? I don't know. I mean, obviously but that's what's going on. And there's nothing more than I want for Mark Pope to succeed. He's a player off my favorite team ever at Kentucky, and there'll never be a team that will surpass that team in my eyes. I don't care what they do. I don't know. Wisconsin wouldn't have happened. That one might have nudged it if they'd have gone on and completed it. But they'll never be, coached by my favorite coach. I was your age we were your age, Trey, when those years were going on. Josh and I were, and your dad. So, man, you know, uh, we got to fight. Let's pray we can upset a couple of teams and just somehow get in the tournament, man. That's where I'm at. If not, we'll have to reconvene again, because it's going to be ugly if that doesn't happen. And I still have hope that it can. But that's where I'm at, man.
Yeah, and we'll get on to the future of the program and the, I guess, glooming question of whether or not Pope is the guy. But Let's stay on the Missouri game. Hop, what was your initial reaction from the game on Tuesday? And back to the original point, was that a fair reaction from me being that over dramatic and saying this is the lowest point of my fandom?
You are always overreactor. It's fair. When you were 7 and 8, you had to be put in timeout because when we'd lose games, you'd go throw stuff in your room. That's just the way you are. You can't help it. That's how you're built, and you'll always. But you are prone to overreaction, and it appears you always will be. But I'll tell
But
you
is it
this.
fair though? I think at this point in the season, it's a fair. Me and Griggs' style of reaction is a fair one. As a fan at this.
Maybe in your lifetime, that's up to you to step back and see. I'll tell you this, is you're a quarter century in, we're a half century in, and we've seen us on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Oh, what was it? Scooter, oh, sorry,
Kentucky
state.
shame. Kentucky shame.
Kentucky shame. I
Yeah.
was away at school in Tennessee then in 10th grade, and I was just killed by people. Kentucky shame. It was as down as you could get. We were cheaters. We were exposed. We were terrible. No hope for the program. We've seen it low, and that's the thing about Kentucky. Kentucky will come back. I understand what you're saying, and the good news is it's easier to come back now than in any time in the history of college sports.
Amen.
Because it's not, because now it's managing a salary cap, which is different than the track. That's what this is all about, is mismanagement of a salary cap.
Yeah,
You
but
always knew
Josh, would you not agree though, in managing that salary cap, you've got to eye the correct pieces, man. You can't miss on every
of
damn
course.
one of them.
That's what this is. This is a terribly constructed roster. There was always going to be winners and losers of this. Who could figure it out faster than the other? The ultimate winner, if you put it, is Indiana football. That's
Amen to
unbelievable.
that too.
It never happened in the history of college sports, turn around like that for a program like that, which gives us the most hope in our football program. Now it's not just, people are like, well, why would I go to Kentucky? And we don't have this talent. And we don't have, well, now we can just, if we select the right guys, we can be good and attract people that want to come play for the program. If you indulge me for a second, well, I'll just stay with that game. I'll just stay with my initial reaction to that game was Vegas, who usually is incredible, was so far off.
Terrible line.
Bad.
I don't bet. And I was like, do I go bet this? Because I know I've seen we're not good. We can't score. We might not score 13 and a half points. How can this be the line? That was my initial thought. And then the rest played out, almost as I had thought. When we went up 8 or whatever, I thought, okay, all right, but even if we had won that game, no one would be like, we'd be happy with the win, but we'd be like, that was so ugly. It was not fun. It was not fun to watch. It was not, even if we had won, no one would have been like happy.
Yeah. And Hop, I want to follow up what you talked about. Yes, this roster is very poorly put together, but at the same time, it has to be a man in the mirror moment for Mark Pope. It's like, okay, I got a bad deck of cards. Let's make the most of it. And the last 3 minutes of the game against Missouri, I think, and I'm not trying to be too harsh because I can be, especially on Twitter, come across as kind of a lunatic, but that was the biggest disgrace of coaching malpractice I've ever seen. We're up 8 with 3 minutes left. We have not only 2 centers in the game, our backup centers, right? So when they're starting to pick up the pressure and stuff, we really only have one ball handler on the court. And then we get down to, okay, they score a couple buckets. We can't score, right? Because no spacing with the 2 bigs in. And we're now officially down 1. He takes out Jalen Lowe, subs in Aberdeen for a defense-offense thing. We have 2 timeouts, I add you. Get the rebound. He does not call a timeout to get Jalen Lowe back in the game. And we commit that turnover when Brandon Garrison threw the backdoor pass around 30 seconds. I think that is coaching malpractice. Scooter, you've been on the sideline before at the high school level. Am I right to say that? Why are we going this deep into the bench and playing guys, our 8th and 9th guys, crucial minutes with a minute left to go?
Yep. So that's probably the worst thing he does is he does not give kids these guys, excuse me, a chance to play together and get enough time and cohesion. However, Trey, and yeah, I get the whole asking me on the coaching angle, but hear me out on this. Jalen Lowe. There's three things you do when you catch a basketball, right? And you're on a triple threat. Triple threat means pass, shoot, dribble, right? We've got one guy on the team, and I say Jalen Lowe can shoot. His shot's not broken. He's not a great 3-point shooter statistically through his career. He can hit this shot though. If he had somebody getting the ball to him out, like he can get it to others, he could shoot okay. I'm not, other than him, there's not one player on this team that can do those three things at an above average level, all three of them. There's not one. So, yes, it goes back to he obviously screwed up in identifying talent. His players ain't no damn good, man. Period. I hate to
Hop, you have
break.
any
That's me.
Do you have any X's and O's breakdown from like? Do you still keep in touch with Rex, or do you hear from other basketball? Like, you're really involved in the basketball world. Like, do you have people texting you, like, what is going on with Kentucky, providing input? If there's anything you could share, I'm curious to hear what the world thinks about what is going on in Lexington.
I mean, my friends that are in the basketball world that know stuff are, to them, they're not saying what's going on. They're like, they don't have good players. It's not this is crazy. It's like, look, we're halfway through the season. It's not like we're going to heat up and be good shooters. There's no cohesiveness. This is a horribly put together roster. That's the facts.
I agree. That's what's going on.
The thing that confuses me though, and I'll admit that I think every offseason I roll into it looking at a glass half full ordeal with our roster. And when you look at the glass half full, especially before the year starts, and we kind of got teased with it the Purdue game, we have on paper a lottery pick center, the best or one of the best glue guys in the SEC in Mo Diabate. We have the preseason SEC Player of the Year, a national champion shooting guard who's a senior vet, two McDonald's All-Americans in Moreno and Jasper. Jasper I don't think was eligible, but two 5-star freshmen, and then an All-ACC point guard. So were we just blind to all that and not really breaking it down that this is just, they can't shoot. It is really just an odd group of guys. Do you think there's something else going on in the locker room?
Yes, there's something going on in the locker room, but it's not like what everyone's saying. We're losing.
Yeah.
When you lose, people point fingers and thing breaks apart. It's not like this guy's dating this guy's ex-girlfriend. Maybe some of that, but that's not why we're not, it's falling apart because we're losing. When things go to pieces, people point fingers. So you can't look at that. All said and thought was we hung our hat on one of these guys would make a jump, and that they would shoot better because of his offense. That's what, everyone thought. Well, it turns out we don't have a dude. If we had one dude, these guys would be able to play their parts and they'd be cohesive and really good, but we don't have a dude. We don't have a guy that can go get you a basket. Jaden Quaintance isn't a dude. They want him in the NBA not to score or be a dude. They want him because he can be an elite cog in a good team, which is hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't a dude. He can't go get you a bucket, but he is long-armed, huge hands, an anomaly of a human being, which is what they see. He could be an all-time rebounder, clean stuff up, and maybe they're hoping he can eventually, like a lot of big guys his age, in 4 years, be able to shoot decently enough to stay in the game because he can move his feet with guards.
A Bam out of buyouts. A Bam.
Yeah. That's what they would hope. He's kind of a
Jalen Duran. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
But he ain't a dude. He ain't the guy, and so we don't have a dude.
And the whole offseason, I like that you brought up the point is that with his offense, we thought people would make the jump with their outside shot. I honestly think Ortega's shot looks uglier than it did a year
I
ago.
did
Yeah.
too.
I mean,
He went to the
Lamont
combine
Butler
and
is the Go
everybody
ahead.
gave him a bunch of, stuff to do on the off season, and his shot is more broken. When he
He,
shoot a long, like a 3, it looks like he's gonna throw his back out. It's like it's working against physics.
It gives me anxiety.
It hurts. It looks like it hurts.
Yeah.
And the hitch is worse this year, which is, things happen in sport, Chuck Knobloch, the yips, the whatever, but he needed to get a shooting guru and shoot 500 threes a day. And when he went like this the first time, someone needed to run over to him and go, no, you're going to miss a lot. Now, when you just go like this, I get it, but this is consistently never going to do it. And he'll never play a meaningful minute in the NBA
no,
because
because
of that.
he does play hard and everything, but if you compare him to Michael Kidd Gilchrist, just he's 3 inches shorter, man, and he ain't a dog like that. He's a dog, but he ain't a dog like that. You know what I'm saying? So no, there will be no NBA for him. I would be shocked. Let me just say that for sure.
The funny thing is, we were very critical of Ortega at the start of the season. I mean, he's sneaky, has been in SEC play, and then the St. John's game has probably been averaging around 21, 22 points a game. But you'll get that out of him. I was talking about
I
this
think
with
part of the problem there that was overlooked is he didn't play for 2 months.
Yeah,
He had the
yeah.
turf
Hey, and
toe.
turf. Hey,
No
listen
one
now.
ever
Turf
said that.
toe's a legit injury, guys. I mean, it is a legit injury. It is a
And so
legit.
he stayed off of it, and it took him no one ever said anything like that, any announcers or anything. It's like, slow start. Well, he didn't play all summer. That is a legit thing, and he looked lost, and he started looked disinterested. I think he was just disappointed in himself, and now I think people look disinterested because they're disheartened.
Yeah, and to follow up on Ortega, there's still a lot of thought of how was last year so awesome? How was it so magic? Like what we wanted out of the Pope era compared to this year has just been a complete 180. And there's really a guy that comes to mind, and you saw in all those clips. I don't know if you guys follow like the social media and stuff where they post the post game like kind of documentary style or practice clips. But Andrew Carr was a guy clearly not our best player, not the most talented, battled injury, but he was hands down the leader of that team last year. The vocal leader, the emotional leader. I believe that Pope kind of had a thought that that would be Ortega this year, but Ortega's a very soft-spoken guy. And then I think Diabate and some of these other guys who really, I don't know, maybe should not be in that position have stepped up into the quote-unquote leader role, and they've either been injured and not be able to play or just maybe you're not the type of guy for that. This team needs a leader, and it's clearly just a lost bunch at the moment and just a bunch of weird pieces. But to move on and to continue to talk about Mark Pope, I guess the elephant in the room, is he the guy? Pop, I'll start with you.
Well, if you'll indulge me for a second, I'm going to take 3 minutes and just cover a lot of these subjects because I do have something. I believe there's a fix,
Okay.
and there's only one, and it's getting harder and harder for it to occur. But let's step back and let's look at, okay, we hire Mark Pope. We're all befuddled. We were all shell shocked and went to bed in a bad mood, right?
You text me and told me that, and we had a 6 to 8 hour of just anger, mourning, sadness. How?
We all
What is
did.
Mitch? What
Everyone
has
in the
Mitch
Ignorant
done?
Nation.
Sure,
And
sure.
then we all woke up and said, well, here we are. Let's go. Then Pope came in and had the all-time number one in any sport of all time winning a press conference. It's never,
Agreed.
there's not one in the history of sports that
Ever.
has been winning a press conference like that.
Agreed. Agreed.
And then last year, he put together a team in a month to 5 weeks that made our first Sweet 16 since 2019. They were fun. They were likable. We felt like they loved Kentucky and just to not be a cliche, but really appreciated the name on the front of the jersey. But they were fun. We scored points, yada yada yada. We had that last year was a grade A for Pope. Would have been an A plus with an Arkansas win. But for that group to put together that fast and be that liked was great. Cut to this year. Last year couldn't have been better. This year couldn't be worse. Okay, so the reality falls usually in the middle somewhere. Right now, we are as low as we can go. Last year's knock on the team was we didn't have any dogs. That was the thing, we were soft and we needed some dogs. Well,
Yep.
Mark Pope overcorrected. And it turns out that it's better to have a basketball team full of basketball players than a basketball team full of dogs. Okay? Dogs need
A
basketball
bunch of
players.
neutered dogs as well, because I mean,
Yeah.
I think we have a bunch of fake dogs, like
Well, dogs can't be
fake
dogs
pumpkin.
without basketball players around them,
Thank
okay?
you.
Uh, you know, Mo Diabate can't thrive on the court with 3 other Mo Diabates. Dennis Rodman is the greatest role player, energy guy in the history of basketball. And if you put him on the court with Charles Oakley and Rick Mahorn and Bill Cartwright and Bill Laimbeer, they all would suck. They
Hmm.
can't get the ball to each
That's
other. It
right.
doesn't
That's
matter.
right.
They can't play. Those are all-time great players, role players. If you had an all-time, like a team that we really like, all-time cats that we love. If you put Oscar on the court with Kid Gilchrist and Chuck Hayes and Jamal McGlure, we wouldn't score 20 points a game.
Mm-mm.
You got to have the fit. So these guys can't play a role because their role, no one can. We don't have any basketball players. We have 2 guys in the rotation that can pass at all, and it's Jalen Lowe and Moreno. They can pass. They are basketball players and surrounded by a bunch of guys that are dogs. And Moreno's only a freshman, so he's not.
I love him, man. I
And Lowe's
love
hurt.
him. I pray to God he wears a Kentucky uniform for 4 years. It's my
Right,
prayer. That's my
right.
prayer out of all these guys. I love him.
I mean,
Yep.
a if we had a team full of basketball players and Mo Diabate, Mo would be the favorite player of the BBN.
Absolutely. I agree with that too.
He's
I agree.
rendered useless because he doesn't have that. He's a cog, not a dude. And he's an elite college role player and energy
Sure
guy.
he
But
is.
you can't.
He
You
beat
got to
us
have
once
basketball
last year.
players.
He beat
Yeah,
us at Rupp Arena that first game. He was their MVP.
yeah. He could be that if they had players. Now, I guess what you're saying is this is an all-time poorly constructed team. That's the truth. You can cut through everything and yada, 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 and this guy and that guy. People are going to point fingers. The most damning thing that I think has happened this year is happened very recently, and it's 2 things. For the first time, Pope's ability to coach has been openly questioned. When Mo was like, "I wish we prepared better."
Yeah,
People are
that
like,
was a weird comment.
and people
Say
are like,
publicly.
some people, I heard Matt Jones and people on KSR like, well, that could be an indictment on the players. No, the players aren't the prep. The
Mm-hmm.
coaches are the preparation. Then he
Mm-hmm.
wish we adjusted more. Like they kept doing the same flare screen. Why didn't? And he took some blame, like not doing the right thing in film session. He said it was bad, but preparation is on the coaches. That was damning. Then he went on to sing a love letter to Nate Oates about he's the best mind and he preps and he knows everything. That was damning. And then um, Nate Oates broke the coach's code and was like, they were easy to prep for. They don't do this. We knew exactly what they do. It was easy. And then so that is concerning. Okay. And the second concerning thing is lately Pope's, first of all season, his demeanor in interviews and on his show and everything has been close to bizarre.
It's weird.
Yeah. And his motivational speak that no one knows what he's saying, especially 18-year-old kids, is odd. And then lately, like particularly his bizarre and just distasteful, I could curl up and I want to kill myself. We get what he's saying, but that is indicative of a guy who might not be ready for.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Ugh.
those are the
Ugh.
most two concerning things that have come out lately. Now, the portal blueprint has become clear. Nobody knew exactly what it was, and it has become crystallized. Get a stud freshman, a pro, a guy who's a pro, a real pro. Now, this year's an anomaly, but usually there are 4, 5, 6 of those guys.
Yeah, there were 10 to 12 of them to get this
Yeah,
past year. We didn't
this
get that
year's an
one.
anomaly, right? But still, more concerned, we didn't get one.
Mm-mm.
Now, you can go the JMI stuff after this and all, but we didn't get one, okay? Then it's the worst put together team, you could put. But what you want to do is get a stud freshman, and then you want to surround him with grown men that have been in college basketball, mentally and physically, shooters
There you go.
everywhere, and
Please.
and and elite role players. You don't have to pay up for elite role players. You got to pay fair market, but that's what you back the truck up for a stud. Then you get some shooters and some elite role players. We don't have a dude. This team would be totally different with a dude. All these guys would be able to play their part, and right now they can't play their part. There's no passers and poor ball handling. We just don't have a lot of basketball players. Bad news here is that Pope, this season has gone so poorly that Pope has no leverage now to get
Yeah.
an elite guy. Well, who wants to come play for what the kids see, a 17-year-old sees this team in this style, and they're like, I don't want to come play for that. Plus, he is in a way a de facto lame duck coach in these kids' minds because they're scared he won't even be there. So it's tied his hands in the programs to maybe go get that guy. Now, there is one fix and one thing that we have to do, and it is our only hope.
Let's hear it.
And this is the only time in history we could ever do it and take advantage of it. And that's to go. These kids, it's money now. And you pick your guy, whether it be Christian Collins or Tyron Stokes. And people say, oh, well, we don't want Tyron Stokes. He is a cancer. Oh, we've lost the privilege to decide that. That's
Give me Tyron Stokes.
He's a
now.
pro. He could play in the pros now, right? So he's a dude. And if you don't want him, if it's Christian Collins, and I know that they've fallen off our board, it's because of all this. But what you can do, the one fix is to back a truck up. Back a truck up and you get one of those kids, one guy you select to come. Because it does immediately when Calipari's team sucked, we had the hope that the cavalry was coming. Saw it in the future. We were like, okay, this sucks, but we got this, and then we're going to get this. And so it gives BBN hope if we go get a stud. Then you can build a team around a stud, like we said. Do what I said, go get shooters, some grown men, and then you can compete. But we would have never been able to get those guys in another year than this year or last year in the portal era. They'd been like, nah, I'm not going there. But if you back a truck up, they'd be like, hey, all right, I'll go there. Now, if you want to talk JMI and whether we can do that, that's a different story. But we finally it's the only time that we could do that. And we could make the BBN would get back on like hope. We need hope.
Ironically, Hop, I believe that's the formula you just presented there is exactly what BYU did this year.
Yeah.
Route the bank for stud, fill it around with veterans and shooters. And unfortunately, it is the team that was the former university of our present coach, who has honestly made a jump since his departure, which I think is the most gut-wrenching part of the whole thing. I don't care about Arkansas look, like we knew Cal wherever he would have gone would have after a year or so gotten back to swaggy Cal where he has always been. It's the BYU part that they've bought in on this new guy. It's like, oh, did we really get a BYU scrap? Like, Scooter, what
Well,
do you think?
well, yeah, Trey, it goes back to what Josh said. I mean, they were good last year. They had a really good year last year. BYU did, okay, but they went and got a dude, man. That's
They
why.
figured out the formula before we
Yeah,
did.
yeah, man, yeah, and that's what he just said happened. They backed the truck up, man. That nobody else. I don't think anybody can match it. You
That
know,
yeah, there's a part of me
or
that
Could
wanted to
you
match it.
could you think of 3 players on our team that you wouldn't are most valuable, whatever, you wouldn't trade for Diabate? Straight up.
so you're saying
No, I mean, not
player
for Diabate, for Debanza.
I'd take
no, I
you
mean
can take the absolute three best. You can take JQ, Low, and Owe. I'd trade the three of them for him. So
So,
that's how
I'm
good he is.
saying that money would have been wiser spent on
Sure,
one dude.
sure,
And
sure.
that's the formula. We're all figuring it out. You
Yeah.
know,
Now,
Pope figured it out too late. He did a bunch of analytics and, but the eye test is worth something. We'd trade 4 guys for Debanza right now. I mean, we need a dude. Our only hope is to go back the truck up.
yep, yep.
it, that's such a dice roll. I agree, but it is still a dice roll, right? Like, let's say in a crazy world 2013, we were that like with Nerlens, if he, God forbid, an injury like that were to happen in Tyron Stokes next year, like that, there goes $5 million. So there is a risk factor. But yes, the whole analytical aspect of the Pope era needs to be thrown out the window. The great Sir Charles Barkley once said, and I'm paraphrasing here, something along the lines of analytics guys were the dudes that didn't get the girls in high school. They didn't get the dates to prom. They're just dorks who think they know the game. And it really is frustrating. And I want to see what analytics he has bringing up these numbers, these substitutions at times. I think we need to have like a rah type of coach to come in and kind of just be the bad cop, the Pope's good cop, because I don't think he has a bad cop bone in his body to be like, man, throw that out the window, send the best 5. I'm trying to think of like Cal had Robic, right, to kind of keep him in check. I don't think Pope really has like a guy to call him out. Maybe Mark Fox.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's who we hope Fox would be. If I took a step back and really looked at it, because we're panicking and we're emotional now with all the finger pointing, and we're worried about Pope, and I'm worried about his head. Is he ready for the stage? But if you step back, he did not forget how to coach in 1 year.
No, he did
He
not.
was really good last year, and our offense was really good. And coaches used to say, the problem with playing Mark Pope is the preparation. It's so hard, and now we're so predictable and whatever, and that's roster construction. You just have to put it on that. Now we've lost the ability to say, well, it's risky to pay one guy. Yeah, if AJ Debanson got hurt, BYU'd be over. You can't look at it like that. You got to go for it. You could do that with anybody. I'd say it's a lot dumber to pay $2 million for a guy who might not play the whole year and isn't really a dude basketball player who comes in with an ACL injury. To pay him half of what AJ played to play half of the season is not smart.
Yep. You know, we're 24 minutes in here. There's another gray elephant that I don't think we've touched on. How do we, for 2 years in a row, and you talked about how great, how beloved that team was last year. Just think if they would have had a Jalen Lowe type player coming off the bench for who was our point guard who got injured. So
Teresa or
where
Butler.
I'm going with this, guys, we've gone 2 years in
Butler.
a row, and we have one point guard on our entire roster. That to me has been just think last year if Jalen Lowe type player, or you can even say Jalen Lowe would have been the point guard off the bench, or someone of that level would have been off the bench. We may beat Tennessee a third time. We probably don't have to play Tennessee because our record's better. Because you see where I'm going, and we'd had an even better seed than we had, and we get to at least the Elite Eight last year with that team.
Well,
In
2
Pope's
things
defense,
is
we did have 2 point guards last year with Kaprizov
yeah,
having
and
the
then he
really
got hurt. But this year, I remember in the beginning,
Right. That's true.
Trey,
That's true.
I remember you saying this year before, it's like, how do we put together this team and don't have a backup point guard? I remember you said that before the season
Thank you.
started.
Yeah.
And we all said the one guy, it isn't acquaintance or the one guy we can't afford to lose was Jalen Lowe, and we lost him in the blue-white game. I mean, it's a nightmare scenario. But you look at last year's team, and what if you put what if you put Christian Collins on that team? What if you put a dude on last year's team?
Yeah. Oh,
You put
yeah.
Chaz Lanier, honestly.
Yeah.
It makes all the difference.
And Chaz Lanier is a um, piece for a team, maybe in the NBA. He's already a grown. What if you put an NBA player, a guy that's going to start in the NBA, on last year's team? Really good. If you
Really
put it
good.
on this year's team, we're really good because
Yeah.
these guys can play their role. This is just you chalk this season up to terrible construction. You don't just say Pope is a terrible coach now. Although it seems like that because of the finger pointing and everything's gone as possibly, but he didn't just from last year to this year forget how to coach basketball.
We keep throwing the name around dude, and this is a little bit off topic and we'll get back. I'm just kind of curious if you could pick one former player of ours to be that dude on this year's team, anyone. You can go to the Wayback Machine, you can go Reed Shepard, anyone. Who would you pick?
Tyrese Maxey.
That's exactly who I was going to say. Swear to God. Tyrese Maxey, man.
Because you got to
Maxey.
have a ball handler
In the shooter, you got,
and a
and who can
shooter.
get his own, who can go get his own, and
Tyrese
who
Maxey's
can,
pretty
yeah,
good. Like you
yeah.
wouldn't want Wall. Of course you'd want
No, because
Wall, but he ain't going to go. He's got to, with this team, there's no room to drive because they're all stuck in the middle. You want Tyrese Maxey.
De'Aaron Fox would be another that would come to mind that could do
Yep.
really well with
But
this
not as good
group.
of a shooter,
No,
you know.
no, he's not the shooter that Maxey is,
You
but
you
that's
need a
another one.
you need a
Just
shooter
thinking.
ball handler.
Brendan Knight would be
Yeah,
another.
he'd be really good one on this team.
Of that ilk, yeah, you give me any of those three guys, and
Gotta
it's a
be a
complete.
guard. We
I
know
think
that.
y'all are missing I think is the best one. What about Jamal Murray?
Shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
He
Great
could
one.
best
yeah,
Great one.
he was the
yeah,
best 3-level scorer, I think, of the Cal era.
That was a great one. That's yeah.
man.
Yep. That he'd be
And he
great.
could also play the 1 too. So he would have helped us out in 2 positions and obviously a thing in need with the scoring. But
And to throw one more out, Shay.
like Shea
You know,
like hit his
yeah,
basketball puberty like year 2 in the NBA. I
it's
think he was
it.
still raw when he was with us.
What would you have seen in year two at Kentucky? Let's just say it was old school basketball. You know, it's incredible what we had, man. And we're going, I think, through losing all this is going back to get a dude. We're losing that, man, for 15 years. Like Hop said, Calvary was coming, man. You know, it was just over and over. And look what these guys went on to do and not have him. But hey, before that time, Trey, you might not have remembered this, we didn't have a lot of pros. That's why we so love Rex and we so love MASH and we so loved, you know,
Rondo.
Rondo, Sam Bowie. When Sam Bowie went to the pros, man, it was the greatest thing in the world. And then, we never had pros compared to the other big programs, man.
True.
And so we had that. And look, I was one of the ones who were like, I don't care about the NBA. All this is NBA. I want somebody Kentucky wants to be here. Blah blah. Man, I just kind of wanted in between those two things. Is what I'm
Mhm.
looking for. You got to have players, man. You have got to have players. And back to what I said, and I'll give the mic to y'all, but Bruce Pearl, when he was he said this was early on, this was a team of role players. And I was like, it's way too early to make that call. Jalen Lowe's not even out there yet. That's what was said early, and he was 100% correct. So,
Bruce Pearl did recruit Jaden Quaintance hard, though. I want to throw that out there as well. I'm
of
going to
course,
play devil's advocate on the negative stuff because I'm usually the negative guy. But what were you saying?
Bruce Pearl wins with role players. He just has
Yes.
a specific, they're all 6'7". They all can dribble it a little bit, shoot it a little bit, and can guard, right? Um, They can shoot it a little bit. Our guys, it don't look like I'm sorry, man. It don't look that Cam Williams now. In fairness, respect to him, he's got potential. Okay, I really like him, but man, there just isn't just the talent, the high level in talent just isn't there, man. And you can't put together a team of role players. And it goes back to again what Josh said: basketball players. Hell, give me four shooters, man. Uh, they can get scored on. Can you score one more point for that night than the man you're guarding? If everybody can do that, you win the game, right? So,
Yeah.
so
And you're talking about Bruce Pearl, one of the greatest coaches ever with getting role players. Especially during my time at Auburn, Auburn would find the most random guys on, like a kid from Eastern Kentucky, kid from JUCO basketball, Chad Baker Mazzara, and
yeah,
I think him and Rick Pitino are 1A, 1B of taking random role players and turning them into a basketball thing. So I thought Pope, coming from the school of Rick Pitino, that's sort of how we'd be. We'd have a bunch of no-name guys, sort of like how Houston is in a way, but more of an offensive-minded Houston.
yeah.
But we were really just a poor man's Houston without the grit. Yeah, now that we got the technical difficulties out of the way, to continue off of what you were talking about, Scooter, with the hiring process, and Hop, when you get back in here, feel free to chime in. Anyone that gets offered their dream job, even if you're underqualified, is going to say yes. Let's be honest. This is Mark Pope's dream job. Was he underqualified at the time of his offering? Probably. And there's one person to blame, and that's Mitch Barnhart. And I feel like he's sort of gone under the radar at this point. And I've done my best to, keep the fan base reminded, like, hey, like, this is the guy that brought him in here. If Pope were to go to that floor we were mentioning, I don't think Mitch Barnhart should be the guy to hire him. He hired Billy Gillispie. The only reason he hired Cal was because of Mike Pratt basically pressing him to do it. But to get to that ultimate point of Pope not being the guy next year, would a losing record, 15-16, probably be the tipping point where you can't bring him back?
Probably, yeah, yeah. And Trey, here's the thing I'll say about this, and yeah, I mean, I don't know how he would survive that. There's a couple of things at play here. I think number one, what's Mitch's timeline, right? So you're dealing with an AD who's coming up on the end. Would that force that to happen? And then because Mitch is not going to be allowed to hire the next basketball coach if he was to be, so there's a lot of moving parts there. The thing, Trey, that I want more than anything, you know, uh, I want Mark Pope to survive this. I want us to somehow get in the tournament, regardless of the seed. Maybe the upset comes in the first game. Trey, we could be looking at playing in Dayton, man. You know what? This could come down. You know what I'm saying,
Is that
man?
not kind of more embarrassing than missing the tournament as a whole? Playing on that
Maybe,
day,
maybe,
no.
we've never been there. I don't know. It's going to be really gross. I can say
We,
that. I can say that he's getting frustrated at technical
yeah.
problems, but that's so. Trade like there's like four Kentucky basketball figures that stand out in my lifetime, and Coach Pitino's one of those. And like he would be the only coach on that list for me, right? There'd be two players and like a radio announcer, like Kay Wood, Rick Pitino, Rex Chapman, and Jamal Mashburn. That's my Kentucky, okay. But you know. I want Mark to succeed so bad because he is obviously a stand-up human being. Okay, let's call it what it is. All right, everybody, man, there's no better story that would such pride. He's the captain back to the greatest team of that coach I love so much. Where Kentucky basketball, in my opinion, I don't think it's ever ascended that high since New York that night. That was my apex, right? So him being on that team and a captain, there's so many reasons I want this to succeed. I think they're going to somehow, some way. I really believe that in my heart because man, I hit and I get mad, man, and it's bad, man, when I get mad like you do, but it's 55-year-old mad, and 55-year-old mad don't need to be getting mad like that. You know what I'm saying? So but I have the ability to. We've been there before in situations. We will climb out of this, and I truly believe he can get it done. And listen, it is what it is. He's our coach the rest of the year, and and people are going to go on the message boards and knock these kids, which I'm doing. Again, I go back to it's not a well put together roster. Um, he missed. I think he learned he's highly intelligent. He's going to make the adjustment, man. We need everything to happen that Mark Pope is our coach next year, unless you for sure can go get whoever it is you want. If that can't happen, we need to hope Mark Pope is our coach next year. That's my belief. That's just my belief. Okay. So, but I could be completely wrong. I may not be in the majority. I just, due to life experiences and wisdom, that's what we need more than anything. Unless you can for sure get who it is you want. No questions asked. If that's the case, then okay, you that's what the big people who make those decisions have to face, right? And if they can do that, that's their call. But unless you have that, man, you pray that it works out. And and I pray he's great next year. And I pray he's our coach here 10 years and wins a national championship or two. That's my goal. But yeah, we're at a point right now. It's Kentucky. And that's what separates Kentucky. Coach Cal, Kentucky's not for everybody. It's not, man. You think about it. It's a grind. It takes a special alpha mentality, and
To be the
Pope's
coach here?
yes.
And
It's
okay, do you think Pope has that? You obviously want him to succeed, but I don't think that is one of his.
so it's not appearing that way right now. Man, again, dude, I go back to I don't know, man. It's such a different world now. Kids are different. It's a pro game. And that's why I have no problems criticizing the players and saying we don't have a great player. They're pros, dude. They're making money. They got to be able to handle that criticism if they don't perform. It's not like it was 20 years ago, so that's a realism, okay? But dude, I think he's a s- I th- the only worry I'm not worried about his coaching. Like Josh said, you're allowed to have. Again, I don't think these guys can run his shit. Now he's having to do some elementary stuff, and they're trying, and they can't even do that because they can't pass the ball. They pass the ball at each other's ankles, dude, like bounce passes. Like these just this is what it is. I mean, dribble, pass, shoot. We ain't got those dudes. And uh, so I give him on that, and I think he'll make that adjustment. And yes, I think he's smart enough. Man, you don't have to be I'm going to kick your ass in a street fight to be an alpha, man. I think there's a bunch of alpha types. His is an intellectual alpha type that's
That,
not
that's
translating,
no, that is not.
obviously.
That's not the type of personality for a Kentucky, for an Alabama football. And I made a take about a week ago on our podcast saying Kalen DeBoer, personality wise, is not the right fit for Alabama football. You got to be larger than life. You kind of have to be a ruthless prick to be the coach at Kentucky. Look at our most successful coaches: Rupp, Pitino, Cal. Kind of all assholes in their own different ways. Uh, Cal more of a charismatic, like car salesman type of asshole. The other two more blunt, but I don't know. We love Pope. What the his personality, we all want him to succeed because he's one of us. But I think him being one of us is also one of his biggest flaws because he takes the losses like how I take the losses, which you
Yeah.
can't do that if you're a leader. And it's just not a good look as your coach being all pouty and sad and depressed? How are we supposed to be as a fan ready, or a player for that matter, ready to get up, run through a brick wall for this guy when he's over there sitting like hands crossed? We said a lot of things.
Yeah, it's funny you were just mentioning all those guys. And I didn't get to see Coach Rupp. Obviously, I'm not that old. Okay, I'm close, but not quite. He was a genius and a prick. Coach Patino obviously was a genius. Okay, everybody knows him. I mean, did you see the St. John's year one where he gave the locker room? Did you see that on
Yes.
YouTube?
I can't see a world where Pope does that.
Man, look, I'm like, man, when I saw that, and listen, man, here's why I want Pope to succeed more than anything, too, man. Josh went back and he was talking about we had that 8 hours. Mark Pope's our coach. We were kind of depressed about it, and then Coach Patino cut that video the next day, man. That's what did it. The masses. Now there were a lot of people who went and looked up his style and watched his BYU and did all that. I ain't do that. All it took for me is to get Rick Pitino to say, "Hey, this guy," And when he said that, it was like a whole that time came back, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, here we go. This is and that's why I still want it to work, and I'm not going to give up on it. But yes, all the questions we have are all legitimate. We can question right now. I'm not going with coaching. I'm going now. Could somebody else do better with this group? Yeah, somebody with a different personality. You gotta. It's got to hit on other ways than just being basketball players too, man.
Yeah.
It's personalities with the coach and the team. I mean, it's so many things, man. And I think you can win with his personality. It's going to require different dudes. I don't know.
And speaking
I'm
of the dudes and different dudes, and this is one we can include Hop despite the Hop, you can hear us, correct? Give us either a thumbs up or thumbs down. I'm going to give you a list of names on this roster that if the season were to end today, would you want them back on the team next year? Y'all ready? And this is also, I mean, let's throw Jaden Quaintance out the window, right? He's gone.
Please.
Tega and Aberdeen are seniors, so they're gone. Let's go ahead and start at the point guard position. Would you like Jalen Lowe to be our point guard again next season? And Scooter, you feel free to speak up too. You can. This is you do the thumbs up, thumbs down. All right. Okay.
Balls. I need a second. I want him as one of my two.
Would you welcome back Mohamed Diabate?
No.
One no. Hop in the middle. I'm gonna say yes. But he needs to be surrounded by better players like we talked about. So I've put Mohamed Diabate as a tie. Let's continue going down the line. Colin Chandler, one yes from Hop, a yes from Scooter. I'm gonna say no. I feel like he is sorta, in my opinion, in a way, the coach's son that gets too much playing time because he is like Pope's baby from BYU and has just kind of put us in weird positions with his playing time that I don't know. Is that a fair analysis to say he gets a favorable what do I mean the word? What would be coach speak here, Scooter? Help me out. Favorable minute rotation due to
Yeah,
BYU.
yeah. I mean, I can see you saying that, but hey, also though, just out of fairness, man. I mean, just his athleticism. I don't know if he's not. He's just got to get better defensively, man. He's not meant to create. He's not a creator, man. That he's a when you're in a four guard lineup or a small four and three guards, that's when he needs to be on the floor, man. Like you don't want him handling. You see what I'm saying? So I think there's
Boy.
total for him and for us going forward. And he'll be what, a 24-year-old junior? Yeah, I'll take him. I'll take him.
One can only wonder how much that 2 years off of basketball really hurt his development. Obviously, he
Sure.
was doing what he had to do. To move down the line.
Hey Trey, let me ask you this. We talked about that BYU team. If
Yeah.
he would have stayed at BYU and not have come to UK, would your opinion of Colin Chandler be any different if he was playing with AJ DeBonsta and that white kid that's the sniper athlete for BYU? If he was playing with those two guys, that's what I'm saying, man. That's why I think he could be a legit piece. He would be starting at BYU right now. I think he
Over
would. I,
he'd be competing with minutes with guys who are
that's
who should
okay.
be in Kentucky blue and white.
Okay. Even if okay, let me rephrase that. If we'll go on what you say, competing, he would be getting minutes, don't you think? I think he would, dude. He would be getting legit minutes on that BYU team, man. I'm just telling you. They've got dudes who did missions, that are on that roster. Not as many as yesteryear, but there's a couple. I know that. You know what I mean? So he would be playing, man. He's a good athlete, dude. He's an athlete, man, and I think he just needs to stay in the gym. Look, man, he got married and everything, dude. His life's at a different point. You see what I'm saying? He's older. I'll take that guy, man. I'll take that guy. He seems like he'd be a good locker room player. I mean, he seems positive and everything. I know he was trying to hawk hats the other night or something. They got on to him for that, but
I don't think he's the type of guy that strikes me that wouldn't run his social media. I can see his now wife
well, it's
running
kind of
that for him.
weird. I'm like, well, hey, man, look, it's what you can do now. That's not that kid's fault, and you can say he might have picked a better time to do it or whatever. But man, that's the way it is now, man. It's just. I'm sure that will not happen again this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever. It's been addressed, but I mean that's what they're dealing with now, man. It's changed everything, bud. It's just
Speaking of the social media guys, I think this one might be a resounding no. Brandon Garrison. There's a no from Hop.
he needs a change. I wish him the best.
So Brandon Garrison, a resounding no. Jasper Johnson. I'm gonna say yes. 2 yeses, 3 yes.
Yeah, three yeses.
I
Yeah,
unfortunately think even though we want him back, I can see him not returning. I
yeah,
would not be
I
surprised
can
to
too.
see him. What was
I
it
can.
in Alabama Crimson next year? That's
Uh, uh,
or North Carolina Light Blue. Something
yeah,
to keep in mind.
yeah, yeah. I could see that certainly.
I think we're all in agreement that we want Malachi Moreno back. We've already discussed that. Um, Trent Noah, one of our own.
So, man, I mean, if you're feeling I mean, it depends on what he wants to do. If he wants to be a part of our program, yes. I mean, how many scholarships you have? 15?
Hey, Scooter, no, only basketball, yes or no?
Oh, basketball? No. No. No, because, I mean, he's not going to play. I don't see the kid ever play. If it's Pope I mean, Pope may play him if Pope was back, let's just say. He may give him a shot, but if anybody else came in, I don't know that he would have a scholarship. I don't know. No, no. Basketball wise, man, he's not fleet of foot, but let me tell you, man, that guy though, man, he could go to some college and like lower and be a daggum win a game in the tournament his fifth year for some lower level team. You know what I mean? But if we're talking remain in the program, who knows, man? He might by his senior year could hit a game winning shot for us, and then would it all been worth it? Yes. So I don't know. Yeah, but if we're talking 10 players that play, no.
Hop agrees with you on that. Maybe best for him to go get some run elsewhere.
Yeah.
That's one. It's sort of like the Travis Perry thing. Yes, it'll be hard to see one of our own go. I think all these Kentucky kids now have a higher standard of expectations due to the once a genie in a bottle type season Reed Shepherd had, which I
Uh,
still can't believe. That is one of the craziest. See, I mean, just
uh,
seeing that kid play in the 15th region in Kentucky to go to the NBA in a span of 16
hey,
months is wild.
playing well and playing well and playing well,
He is a stud,
playing well.
and we can't can't seem to figure out the audio here from Hop. It's
I mean, what if this team we went and talked about Maxie and all them, and I'm right, Hot was right. That's exactly who I was going to say if you could put one guy. What if you put freaking Reed on this team, man? And you had Jalen Lowe. Dude, that changes so much, Trey. Now Cam Williams isn't shaded as a shooter. Now you see, now a dude like Cam Williams and a dude like Colin Sexton are even getting more open look. Yeah, just we're missing just that one dude, man.
yeah, no, I mean
He's
Reed
so
was
he was a good one, man. He was a good one.
it's even hard to describe his game because like you see him as a, and not to get off topic here, but I feel like it's worth mentioning because we're talking about dudes. Like it was so bizarre because you just see him as a 6'2" white guy and you're like, okay, spot up shooter. No, he can score 3 levels. Freak
Hmm.
athlete. He can create. There's not really a weakness in his game other than just I guess size in terms of NBA. But um,
Did you read
yeah, no,
Hop's
he would be
text there? What Hop said?
what he's
He sent me one. Hold on. So hold on 1 second.
all these guys are valuable role players, so it's all dependent on who they are surrounded by.
Yeah, exactly. But yes. Exactly. That's perfect. Yeah, we're talking again. He's talking about having a dude, and how much a better shooter would Cam Williams be? How much of a better shooter would a or Jasper Johnson? Think about what Jasper would probably be getting like good run right now, playing off the ball with a Reed Shepard on the team, and now Reed can get to angles, man, and it's giving him open looks to where he's not having. Jasper's just not a creator. It doesn't seem yet. It goes back to pass, dribble, and shoot. He can shoot it. I think he can score the ball. It's the other two things he's got to work on a little bit, man. Particularly putting it on the deck and getting to the hole a little bit. Yep. Needs 15 pounds. Yep.
Great point, Hop.
Agreed.
I'd love.
Agreed.
Did you meant to say Monk there, Hop? Saying I'd love Monk back around with some basketball players around him. No, love him. Mo.
Oh,
Yeah, so
yes,
that's what
yes.
my same thought process with Diabate is like. Look, there's a reason why we wanted him so desperately from Alabama, right? Like
Man,
he
the
had
reason
Sears and Nelson around him, and we thought that would have been low away other guys, but
goes back to what Hopkins said, man. He missed on the Wilson kid from Carolina. Okay, that happened, and then Diabate put his name in, and he had good games against Kentucky. And he is a beast with players. Like there were 4 shooters on the floor when he played at Alabama, and so it changed it. He just, man, I don't know. I think we can rid with him and move on to another 4-man who can shoot it a little bit better, who's got a little bit more size, that's got a little bit more bass. But yeah, I mean, if he wants to get in there and be a hustler or whatever, there's no way he's a starter at the elite level of basketball at a 3 or a 4 or a 5 or wherever you want to put him. I mean, he could try to be a Draymond, but he don't have Draymond's basketball skill, man. That's all he could be. And Hop's saying he's long. Um, got it. Okay. Yep. So, but anyway, 10-4. But yeah, man. So Diabate, no. Who's the last one? We got one more. That's it.
I think that's. I mean, to be honest, I don't think any other player deserves a mention. We got to wrap it up here. Got a lot of great basketball on today. I wanted to say thank you guys for coming on. That felt good. We got to get a lot of stuff off the chest, and thank you everyone for listening, to all the Kentucky fans out there and all the Arkansas and Louisville fans that are watching this. I don't know. I guess get a good lap in. Thank you. I guess any publicity is good publicity. Go follow us on Instagram at NotTop25 and on TikTok. Making a Twitter here soon, and keep posted on YouTube reels and videos. But
Hey,
with that being said,
Hop's last thought, and it's the highlight of this show, and it's the most important thing I think that we all can agree on. You got to go pay a dude. How
pay a
about
dude.
that? Pay a
You heard
dude.
the
We
man.
got to get a dude. Let's go get a dude.